Some call him the most interesting man in the world.
That is setting up the morel mushroom bonanza.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to be a bonanza?
Mushrooms grow better with thunder and lightning.
Others call him Coach. But to everyone else, he's Bill.
I want to get one of those military ab stimulators for us to wear during the show. Have you seen? I sent it to you today.
It's time for Bill's Thrills on Early Break.
Amen to that.
Yeah, amen to that like that. The game's not the same. Who's to blame?
Was that the headline?
The game is not the same. Who's to blame? Just a lot of interesting facts.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing is the only guaranteed games of the playoffs were the American, which was North Texas and Tulane. They were guaranteed winners in. The other one that was guaranteed, that was no, take it back. One side was gonna be in. The next side for us right there, the Big Ten was the only game that was guaranteed that both teams would get in. SEC was not guaranteed that, no guarantee at that. The Big 12, no guarantee like that.
Happen,
then obviously, what am I missing here? ACC, that neither team made it. But there's only one, so there's no guarantee. But here's the deal like that is that, man, did they play. Turn the film on. Wow, did they play. Because Alabama was interested. They just couldn't get it going. Georgia just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And then that Big Ten game with Indiana versus Ohio State was insanity.
It was a beautiful
the effort,
game.
the effort, intense to watch. I had a friend that was at the game. He said, you couldn't imagine the energy. He said it was like the national championship game. Thank you, Big Ten. Now they were both in, but someone could have just been like, no big whoop, right?
The TV people would have stepped in.
Yeah, there was no big there was no big whoop in that.
Try
thing.
harder.
There was no
you're playing.
big, yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. So now here's the question for you right now.
What's
okay?
that?
So are you okay with this? JMU and Tulane is in. 10-2 Notre Dame out, Vandy 10-2 out, Texas 9-3 out, BYU 11-2 out, Utah 10-2 out, USC 9-3 out. Are you okay with
to
it?
further that, Bill, I was looking at the rankings before the segment, and it shows their AP rankings and their seeding. Tulane's ranked 20th in the AP, and James Madison is 24th. You got all these
Seeded
teams
what?
from
What are they seeded?
11th and 12th, but they're ranked 20th and 24th in the AP. So from 11th to 19th are teams that are better than teams in the playoffs.
So where this all goes back to is the couple of the critical errors is how it was written up. You can't change the rules once the rules are set. If you want to change something, change the rules.
Right.
So where it was set up wrong was where they said they had to have 5 champions. Mm-hmm. That's where it went astray. I was in a conversation the other day going like, what's the big deal? Throw JMU out and put in Notre Dame or put in whoever. And I'm like, you can't do that. Because if you do that, then Duke comes in. Because you had to have 5 champions. If they would have just worded it different, a different deal. Or if they had have worded it different also for the terrible job by the ACC with how they had their wording set for their tiebreaker. Because the tiebreaker should have been Miami should have been in that game because they had the same record. But the 5th tiebreaker led to Duke. And that's it. Now, it worked out great for Duke. But think about this now with those teams. Are you okay with that? Because I was kind of excited about it until I saw the games, the home game. Oregon, JMU, 0 excitement for it. 0. I'm just like, they're 23-point favorites.
So they go to TNT, and then what's the other TNT game?
It's like the True TV
Tulane.
and TNT, and Tulane's the other.
Ole Miss beat Tulane 45-10 this year.
And that's who's in the playoffs.
They're playing first round.
Yeah. And
Rematch.
And then the next critical area is by having can you imagine if they gave a complete bracket of 68 teams for 7 straight weeks or 6 straight weeks? All they had to do is just shut up and don't say a word. The reason that there's such a meltdown is because it doesn't matter. They never said a word. Everybody kept screaming, Miami, Notre Dame, head-to-head, what the hell? They're like, nah, look at Miami. I mean, look at Notre Dame. They're just better, guys. Then the final one, you know what? You got to do that head-to-head thing. All they had to do is just not say a word. and then just give the last one. They could give one maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, kind of where it starts. How many times did they show the bracket on Tuesday night? And they would say, this isn't real. It can't end this way. It's impossible for it to end this way. And so with them talking, just made such ginormous errors in the whole thing. But now in the end, it's like, okay, if it's just about I like inclusion, meaning somebody having
That's
a
the
chance.
word.
But now there's 2 teams in, and the fact that Vanderbilt's not even being discussed at 10-2. And right now, just think if you're this one, if you're a team, would you want to play Notre Dame right now? No, you wouldn't. I agree they should be out because they don't have many quality wins. They have one, right? USC. That's their quality win. They're 2 tough teams they lost to. Shouldn't have, but they did. They lost to them. So I can see why they're out. But would you want to play them?
No.
No.
I mean, it depends who I am.
Would you want to play Vandy real bad? Not really.
No.
Not really. Would you want to play Texas real bad right now? No. They got 3 losses, so I get that part of it. But there's a lot of teams there, and it's like, oh, wow. And then now in the playoffs start, I'm going, there's like 2 games. Because last year, when the seeding had buffoonery, it made the next round stupid, but the first round was incredible. Now the home games, these first round. Now Oklahoma, Alabama.
Yeah,
incredible.
high rating.
In Norman.
That'll be nuts.
High rating.
Can't wait to see it. But man, there is 2 clunkers in there.
And Miami, Texas A&M is
James
high rating.
Madison is a 21.5-point dog against Oregon. I mean, is
The
Notre
Clemson-
Dame going to be that? No way.
The Clemson Penn State pinstripe will be higher rated on TV than Oregon.
James Madison.
Yes.
James Madison. And it'll be higher rate. Penn State Clemson will be higher rated than. I mean, the worst game is Ole Miss Tulane. I mean, Ole Miss won 45-10. Now there's a rematch.
So the whole thing was built for this. What was it built for?
I guess
4 insane home games. Remember that? That was going to be the coolest thing. Games on campus in the playoffs.
Did we yell though when they made this? When they made the bracket the way it is, did we say no? You can't include these group of 5 teams. Did we do that?
No.
I
The
don't
biggest
think we did.
biggest issue is there's 2.
Okay.
Not one. If there was just one, you're kind of,
Sure.
Now, the worst thing was last year was that Boise got a bye. That was
They were the 3 seed.
so. And Notre Dame has gotten the break of all breaks because they conceded that they would never be a top 4 team because they don't play in a comp. But then when they changed the seeding over, they can actually now get a bye.
Yeah.
They're eligible for byes now also. But that Notre Dame story, it'd be interesting to hear from the text line because I can't imagine, is there anyone, I get how upset you would be, but is anyone that's a true fan saying, that's what we should do? We should walk away from this bowl game and not play.
I don't.
It was going to be them.
You're going to have some ardent Notre Dame fans that are supportive of that decision.
of the walk away.
Some ardent fans that don't even believe it's true, but they'll say they'll say it because they support the program. Yeah. You'll hear that, but I've heard nothing.
It's basically just said, if you do it to us again, we will opt out. Are you aware of that? We will not play another game.
It's a bad look.
Yeah.
We have some response here from
Love to hear it.
YouTube first. Paul says, I am not okay with this. No group of 5 teams should get in before a 9, 10, or better win Power 5 team.
But what does that do to college football then?
You want to have the one team that can get in, and I was for that.
Fine.
I was for that. Right now, I'm not.
What about one?
Because I want to see Notre Dame and Vanderbilt in right now. Because if those 2 teams are in for those 2, imagine what these games would look like. We would be blown away.
But no, are you okay with one group of 5?
I can deal with it. Yes, I can.
I can.
I'm not a
one.
fan of it, but I could.
Can't have 2 though.
But I could go yes. But 2 of them being in.
2
no.
of those first round games are.
Like you're fine with either Tulane or James Madison, but get Notre Dame in for the other spot.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
When you build a 12-team playoff, and you can guarantee that 2 teams have no chance, because would you say that Notre Dame had? Here's the deal: Notre Dame's better than last year. They're a better team this year than last year.
They would have a chance to win 4 in a row.
They'd have a chance.
JMU has no chance.
None.
You got to think of it that way. Yeah, there's a chance they could
Vanderbilt
upset Oregon.
Vanderbilt could do it. Vanderbilt could do it.
Yeah, they can beat Oregon, but they can't win 4 straight.
No, they can't win 4 straight.
No.
And they won't beat Oregon. But you got to look at it that way. Could they win 4 straight? SMU, Tulane, no. JMU.
And then you get pissed now if Oregon, again, as 21.5-point favorites, blows out James Madison. You're going to say that could have been Vanderbilt. It could have been Notre Dame. It could have been actually a competitive football game.
And isn't the biggest conversation we haven't even brought up hands down, it's Alabama, because they kept saying they can't punish him because of
that's the issue.
But that's not right.
They got pounded.
They have punished teams forever in the championship game. Georgia got knocked out 2 years ago. They went from lost to Alabama to out.
Right.
Auburn in 2017 was 2. They lost. They were out.
Alabama.
USC played Utah. They were number 4, out. And so all these, I'm like, what?
Bama's not playing well. They've lost 2 of their last 4. They almost lost to Auburn. They don't run it well, and now they're not passing it very well.
They rushed for a -3 yards.
Yeah, and they're not passing it that well.
They looked like they were lost in that Georgia game.
And the one play,
right.
there was a tip ball to the tight end that kept a drive alive that got a score. And, I mean, that does not add up.
Nope.
And they keep saying, well, we shouldn't get knocked for it. Like, well, it's happened in the past.
Yeah.
They've done it a bunch, and you've lost a game.
But you see, I get the argument, though. Why do we get punished for playing an extra game when these other teams benefit from not playing? I understand where they're coming from, but there's a risk involved, because if you play poorly, then you get this conversation. They played poorly. They got the belt. Georgia gave them the belt.
Let me ask you this.
28-7.
Do you think Ohio State wanted to win that game?
Yeah.
In Indiana, how happy were they when that thing was all said and done? Who is the pillar? If you just said if you name one school, who's the pillar of the Big Ten?
Ohio State.
They haven't won it in 5 years.
God.
It's been Indiana,
didn't play for
Oregon, and 3 Michigans. So think about that. It's been 5 years. In several years, the last 4 years, they weren't even in the game.
Ohio State fan, how do you feel about that? 4-6-4, 5-6-8-5. You haven't won the Big Ten in 5 years.
5 years. 4 of the years, they didn't even make it. This is the first year they've made it to the championship
My friend
game.
Ross, what do you say? They would have a retort.
Yeah, they would have something.
We'll get that more in the second hour.
So let's tort.
Bill, the headline again, please, for Bill's Thrills.
I made it up right before the show started,
Okay,
so I didn't really count like that.
Okay.
The game's not the same. Who's to blame?
Back to more of Bill's Thrills Rewrapped. Sponsored by Acres Equipment on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Thought I'd go back in time.
You're kidding me.
Thought I'd go back in time. Jake, you wouldn't have lived this. Jake, Steve would have. Jake may have a recollection. The liability that took away the fun ability.
Ooh.
The liability that took away the fun ability. Anger. There's no more dart to get to your cart. There's no more dart to get to your cart. The elimination of the roadside go-kart track. The elimination of the go-kart. Jake, it was incredible. They were lined with old tires.
Okay.
They were lined with old tires. They were 2 inches off the ground like that, and they were Briggs & Stratton motors. That's what they were. And it was like, and racing was implied. They would always say no racing, but when 8 people got in there, what was the first thing you were doing?
Yeah.
You were racing. And you were
100%.
whipping around in the 70s, right? That lot of time. This was no helmet time either. You just got on a go-kart 1 inch off the ground, and you whipped around at high speeds on a go-kart track that was on the side of a highway. You'd just be driving down the side of a highway, and someone would be going like, pull over. What are we doing? Go-karts. Jake, it was, and it wasn't like, okay,
Were these everywhere?
There were a lot of them. They were around.
Somewhat costly, too.
Somewhat costly, a little expensive. You had to make the move to do it. But think about their overhead. They got 20 go-karts sitting there.
Yep.
And the Briggs & Stratton, oh, man. And, Jake, it was so incredible. When you drove by and saw people whipping. And here's the next thing. You'd also see people that were 60, 70 years old, 12. It didn't matter. Just get on there.
All ages.
All ages. And there was, and
It was fun.
And the instruction would be kind of like going, throttles here, brakes here. That was it. Go. And it was just
you never wanted it to end either.
You never wanted it to end. And sometimes people would be like me on the roller coaster. They would let you go longer. But it was a big deal. Also,
you didn't want to go longer than that.
But I had to wave at the guy.
Give me that. Hey.
Oh, hey.
It's the funniest thing ever.
It was.
Hey, you know who built Briggs & Stratton engines?
Who?
Who mastered it?
Who?
Greg.
He
had a job in Council Bluffs at one point in his life, and that's what he did. I shouldn't say Briggs & Stratton, but I think he could weigh in. He built go-kart engines.
And I remember, do you remember
That's what he did.
on the
No
Briggs and
surprise there.
Stratton, it was a little lever. The choke was
Yes,
a lever.
yes.
There's a little lever, Jake, that
Absolutely.
you moved over. And then when you started, Jake, the all pull start. And so there's a chance it would catch and pop your shoulder completely out. It was the most painful
or the
thing.
workers.
Or your hand like that. But when you're starting one on your own, like now, mowers start, and this is nothing like what we grew up with, Jake. Now it's like, starts perfect. Back in the day, it was like on mower. But, when you would see one of those, you drive by like, Dad, is there any chance we can go?
And how about the kid in the neighborhood who had
The go-kart?
the go-kart?
They were the coolest people.
Oh, my
there's,
God.
There's only, it's like,
There's usually one.
there's like 1 to 2. There wasn't like 20 go-karts whipping around. But whoever had it, you're going, you got a go-kart?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
You got to be kidding.
That's unbelievable.
And it never ran.
Never. I know. Always a problem. Axle problems galore. Because they'd whip up and down alleys and stuff like that. So there was always something wrong with it. Hey, can we take the go-kart out? I wish.
So these are outdoor tracks by a major road, you're saying?
Well, you
Yeah.
know they had one on Cornhusker where the boxing venue is now. What was that called?
Yeah, it was Champions Fun Center,
Yeah,
yes.
I rode the
remember that.
go-karts there. It was fun.
But the old ones back in the day, they'd just be the side of the highway,
Roadside.
Jake. Just on the roadside. You'd be driving by someplace busy and go, well, I'm going to whip in there. 1977.
Did your dad whip you in there?
Yeah, we did. A lot of time, the adults would do it.
Well,
And then
of course they would. It's
You know,
fun.
whip in there and play it. I think
This is
so.
sports too.
Yeah, this was sports, and it was serious. It was very serious how fast you.
Pretty fast.
Trying to go pretty fast, but some carts wouldn't go at all, and some would just be like, it'd be insane. They'd be going 40 miles an hour, and the other ones would be going 12, and it'd just be whipping around people.
We do have response.
Is there
here.
any
You want some response?
response? I'd love some.
464 568.
It upsets me they're not around.
Someone
know.
says, this is great. They would tell you no bumping. Right when you get in the car, you start bumping the guy in front of you before he even started.
Immediately, you bump the person in front of you.
Yeah, you would.
Hey, keep 6 feet of space, right? Absolutely, buddy. No problem here. Just ram right into the guy
And
within
laugh.
seconds. And laugh.
My bad.
And the guy's yelling at you. The guy's yelling at that. I'll pull you off here.
Wild Bill says Estes Park still has 3 go-kart tracks right now. John in Lincoln says, my cousin who lived on a farm in Plymouth, Nebraska, had a go-kart. We would ride on that thing for hours, tearing up the gravel.
Yeah, gravel. It'd spin.
Nice.
It would go.
Nice.
Yes.
Let's see. I grew up in Kearney. We'd go to the Big Apple all the time. It was a treat when we got to do all the go-karts at the Big Apple.
Yeah, I remember the Big
Apple in
Yeah.
Kearney? Okay.
It's like a funplex type of thing.
Cool Crest in KC had roadside go-karts. I still hear the sound so awesome. That's from Matt on the text
What are
line.
those sounds, Bill?
Can you do a go-kart sound?
I can't do it.
I don't know if I can do a good
Hard
job
to
of a
do
go. Yeah, it's hard to do a go-kart sound.
It's hard. I'm sorry.
Briggs and Stratton.
Someone says, did you go to the one in Wayne? It was there for a little while in Wayne, Bill.
I didn't go to the one in Wayne. I wonder where that was located. But the ones, like I said, then they got better as they carried on. They're basically non-existent now because of liability. Insurance is like, okay, who's going to insure this? A bunch of people getting on there, and just whipping around. They're not doing it.
No keys.
Arkansas.
No keys.
Yeah, Brad says that in the text line. Arkansas Paul says there's a huge track in central Arkansas. They go 55 miles per hour.
Ooh. That sounds dangerous.
That does sound really dangerous.
Put a
there.
12-year-old
The nostalgia of this, that these were mom and pop places. That was the nostalgia was the mom and pop places that just be all of a sudden on the side of the road, and that's what they did. They had
That's
that was
their
part of-
operation.
That's for their operation.
It's quite an operation, too.
Terrell Farley's chimed in. Who we just saw.
We just saw Farley 5 minutes ago. Where's he
says-
chiming in from? Is he in the back room?
He said maybe it's a different. I don't think it's actually him. He says the biggest go-kart track is in Orlando.
Why
think
would that
that's-
not be Farley?
That's not Farley. It says a Plattsmith number here. Farley doesn't have a Platt. I don't think that's Farley.
T. Farley.
Maybe it is Farley. I don't know. Is that you, Farley?
Does it say T. Farley?
It's a Pigeon Forge, Tennessee has go-karts lining the main road still today.
Do they?
Thank you.
Nice.
I'm sorry, Pigeon Ford.
Thank you.
Tennessee.
And Jake, they were all made, and all the bumper system or the crash system was all old tires. That's what I remember too. Just get some old tires, stack them up, you'll be fine.
Cody Go-Karts North Platte, figure 8 track and slick track go-karts, the best.
Figure 8. A lot of figure 8 tracks.
Yes.
Officer McLeod in Columbus says, when we were kids, my dad brought us to a go-kart for Christmas. Bought us a go-kart for Christmas. He was so excited, told our friends 2 weeks early. Then on Christmas, we got it, realized it was ours.
I wonder
He
how
teased
that
it to his
went. I
friends.
wonder
It
how
was
that
just-
went.
I don't know.
What a great tease. Hey, you see that the Johnsons
Yep.
got a go-kart? Then it ends up being your
That's
go-kart?
your go-kart.
That would be incredible.
I mean, yeah. God.
I'd love to get a go-kart right now.
It is-
If I got
Farley.
if all of a sudden the kids got me a go-kart and I'm whipping just around the side streets, I'd be happy as could be.
Could you get in one?
What's that?
Could we get in one now?
We could get in one. Getting out would be the problem.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot.
Shim says that Waverly had a really good go-kart track at one point.
Waverly.
Right
I
off
can
the
see
side of
it.
the road, probably. Greg, I'm surprised Greg hasn't chimed in.
didn't
Where
see
are
him.
you, Greg? He's working. He's working.
He's probably the dentist.
Justin says Branson, Missouri has a 2-story go-kart track. How does that work?
Those are
Ramp?
those are
It's a
out of
ramp,
my
apparently.
those are out of my wheelhouse. I was going
I've never
back to
seen
the
that.
old school. But yeah, that anytime there's a go-kart, I'm for it. I just miss what it used to be.
Bill, the headline one more time, please.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. Right here. The liability that took away the fun ability. There's no more dart to get to your cart.
So it's a liability issue, you think?
Yeah, liability for the mom and pop. Just,
Yeah.
Parenting tips combined. Wild Card Wednesday and cool parenting tips combined. If that's okay with Steve.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. Let's play the audio.
This is from Clark Lee, Vanderbilt coach. Here we go.
Control over this at Alabama and at Texas, and we did not do enough. I think it's really important that we take ownership over the things that we did have control over, rather than complain about, whatever decisions are being left out. Like, we can't be victims in this situation, because I think there's a level of entitlement that exists in that cuts against the kind of DNA of our program. So the conversation was, hey, the world expects us to be disappointed right now, but what we are is excited. We have a great opportunity, and it's a great celebration on a tremendous bowl stage in a great city against a really challenging Big Ten opponent. As football people,
Go ahead, Bill. Yep, that's Clark Lee.
So he did an incredible job, because right now the storyline of the last probably 30, 40, 50 years of college football would be what right now? It'd be Vanderbilt if it wasn't hijacked in a good way by Cignetti. Because Vanderbilt, what they have done is remarkable. And they have to sit there. If I'm Pavi and I'm watching that game Saturday, he sees himself probably as the leader going into that game to win the Heisman from Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And probably not now. It'll still be interesting. Remember, the voting used to happen before that. It used to be done. He probably would have already had it won. So it's very, very interesting how that stuff plays out with it. But here's the part that I would have for cool parenting tips. And it just came in directly off of Clark Lee. No need for an apology letter. Try this. Be better. Tell your kids to be better. If there's a setback and things didn't go right, and you missed a putt, or this didn't happen, I'm not getting enough playing time, be better.
Yep.
That's exactly what Clark Lee said. You want to be in the playoffs? Be better.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Texas. Beat Alabama. We had our chances. And now people are so caught up in trying to compare the two losses. They're the only ones that I heard just said that we had opportunities and we're thankful for it. And let's just be better. Mm-hmm. And that part of it, his post his interview was incredible with what he brought up during that time. And I couldn't imagine a bigger case for culture on a team. And then later on, he talked about just the fact that people, opting out of bowl games. And he's like, no, we like football here. We're going to play football here. And if that wasn't a culture and recruiting avenue for him, I don't know what was, because I know when you got done listening to that, it's like, okay, that's the guy. And the reason I can say that I know what he's like is the day after they beat Alabama in Nashville a year ago, I was in his office the next day. Mm-hmm. I was in Nashville. I went to his office. He goes, Bill, come on down. We sat and talked in his office for 30 minutes. Just a normal person. And there was nothing like, how about that? How about what we just did? See, Vanderbilt, we're real now. Nope, didn't say a word about that. Just talked about the process, what was going on. Had a great conversation with him. It was absolutely awesome. And so, like I said, for cool parenting tips, that things aren't going your way, be better. That's all I've got.
I like that. From YouTube, Troy says, Clark Lee's comments were absolutely perfect. Well said, Bill. Well said, Clark, on that one.
So you don't want to bring up Notre Dame.
No.
I mean, there's what it
is.
They went the opposite direction.
The one thing that is universal is that Notre Dame is taking shots across the bow from everyone. It's not like, well, I saw Gene Chizik on another podcast. I mean, there's not was it Yormark? Was it the Big 12?
Yes.
Commissioner went after him directly about how he's going after the ACC commissioner.
Oh, he went after Bavacqua, the Notre Dame AD?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he just said it was completely egregious how he's treating the whole situation, especially with how he's.
This sympathy tour is not going well for Bevacqua. He's not getting any sympathy from anybody. Really.
It's a remarkable tour. It's remarkable.
It's not going well for him in terms of people feeling bad for him.
No, it's remarkable what he's doing. Just full embrace of victim. Like, it's a full embrace. Like, it's amazing what he's doing. It's a terrible look.
I mean,
terrible look.
You know, BYU's over here 11-2 again, and they're happily going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They thought they had a conversation at the playoff. Nope, we're going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
So BYU's playing.
Yeah, they're playing Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Well, that's a good bowl game. Yeah,
and the biggest thing is also, you lost me for a second there. I apologize, guys.
That's okay.
Is that there's no repercussions for Notre Dame. At least there was a fine of some sort for Kansas State and Iowa State. There's no repercussions for not playing. And they're talking about it being a $30 million hit for ESPN because that game, Notre Dame versus BYU, the viewership would have been huge. And so that doesn't happen now just because of the opt-outs. And it's just not there's just no way it's a good look, especially when you have a redshirt freshman quarterback. So please don't ever say that we need these practices. This is good for us to practice more because there's a lot of guys on that team that could like to practice and like to play. And same way with Iowa State and same way with Kansas State.
It's meaningful in that regard. I wonder how this Florida State elected to play when they got, I mean, they believe they were wronged and they went ahead and played in the bowl, but really didn't show up.
You mean 63-3 game?
Yeah.
Against Georgia?
Yeah. They elected to play, but I still thought Florida State played the victim card too much too.
They did play.
And then see why do I bring it up? Because I think it had long-term impact on their program. The way they handled their feeling of being wronged, I think it had I think they didn't help themselves.
Let's not forget they were wronged. I agree. But who was more wrong? Sorry, we got a delay right now, so I apologize.
You're good. I can hear you.
I'm not trying to talk over anyone.
No, you're fine.
But the worst part was Georgia. Georgia was number 1 that year and went to 5th. And they showed up for the bowl game. Kirby got his guys ready to play. And they went, talk about disappointed. They went to a SEC championship game, lose to Alabama, and they go from 1 to 5.
See, what I'm getting at, Bill, thank you for pointing that out. What I'm getting at is mindset, and it's really important. Notre Dame, I think, there's some risk in what they're doing. I think when you go down that road of playing the victim and we're not going to play in a bowl, I think that can affect your program. I'm not saying it will, but I think it can. Whereas Georgia wronged, but we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna play. And
they won by 60.
Right. Well, we're gonna play and we're gonna flex because we get to play. We get to play. I think it does matter, and I think people are more drawn to that mindset than Pete Bevacqua going on whatever show, any show that ask him and laying out all his grievances for the world to hear. Nobody really cares about your grievances.
Yeah.
Right? They don't. People don't care.
Yeah, they don't.
No, they don't want to hear it.
No.
They don't want to hear your grievances, Jake.
I don't air them.
They don't want to hear mine. Nobody cares. So just
interesting story that I took from Joey yesterday. You talked about we're going to boycott the bowl game. When Coach Solich got let go, Joey was on the team.
Okay.
And there was a, I don't know if it's overriding, but a lot of conversation. The way to handle this is to boycott the Alamo Bowl. And that was when Bo Pelini was named the interim.
Right.
There was conversations from within.
Okay.
They're not, we're going to show them because they fired Solich and we're not on agreement with this. And we're going to show them. And there was a team meeting and Bo came in and just like, hey, everyone sit down, stop. We're playing in the bowl game. Just knock it off. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, what are we thinking? You're right. That was it. That was the end of it.
Leadership.
People talked about it.
Leadership.
A couple of people sat around the locker room and said, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to boycott this thing. We'll show them. And then Bo, taking over as the head coach, just said, no, stop. We're not doing that. We're playing. We're Nebraska. Knock it off. Get your stuff on and go practice. And they're like, yeah, okay, sounds good to me, coach.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's leadership. It's frankly what Frost should have done. That's a little more complicated after the COVID season. Instead of leaving it to a vote, 2020. Instead of leaving it to a vote, just going in the room and saying, "We're not voting, we're playing." All right, this is not a vote.
Things weren't going great at that point, right, Steve? But that could be looked at the same way as a demise, right?
Yes, I definitely, I think so. Now, Bill, I would, in Frost's defense, COVID complicates that discussion because there was a worn out team that had just got back from Rutgers at 4 a.m.
A game that they won, though, by the way.
They won that game,
though,
right?
Build on that. They looked good in that game. They ran the ball so well in that game.
Thank you for pointing it out. And where Bill Moose was critical is, why are you leaving it to a vote? I mean, what are we doing? Don't vote. Like, just you walk in and say, we're playing a bowl game.
That bowl game
Go ahead.
Wouldn't that bowl game have taken place, Steve, within like a week or so? Because it was already into December.
Yes.
So it would have probably been like the next. So it wouldn't have been like, well, we got to do bowl practice for 3 weeks. Instead of been they'd have been playing like within like a week, kind of like Washington and Boise State are doing now.
Correct. Now the one complicator in that discussion, I'm just trying to provide balance, is I think there were guys, a lot of them probably, that had flights home for the holidays and would have had to cancel. Is that a big deal in your mind? There was
no.
Okay.
You're on a football team, man. You play football.
God bless you, Jake.
Yeah.
Bill,
you get so many guaranteed. It's kind of like this year. You get football. The amount of time you put in per time that you get to play, it's the most ridiculous numerical stat you've ever seen.
Ratio.
For the amount of time. Yeah, the ratio. Think about this. In basketball, when the clock's running, the game's live.
Mm-hmm.
In football, when the clock's running, people are in huddles.
Right.
They're the actual time you're actually playing, and you only get 12 guaranteed, and you work really probably 340 days out of the year. You get about 25 days off for the whole year. 340 days of the year you work to play in 12 guaranteed games, hoping to get a 13th. Mm-hmm. So you don't get very many opportunities. That's not how it works, and there's no pickup football games. And so that's I just see it a little bit different with that. The opportunities you get to play, it's so limited.
Bill, the headline one more time, please. Do you have that pulled up still?
Yeah, I can do it really, really quick. I'd be glad to. Thank you. Got it right here.
Mm-hmm.
No need for an apology letter. Try this. Be better.
And that is Bill's Thrills.
Back to more of Bill's Thrills Rewrapped. Sponsored by Acres Equipment on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We got a lawyer here to help us out because here's my topic today.
That's an interesting way
here's
to
my
do this.
topic.
Sometimes it does feel like hurting kids.
And I'll do a rhyme before we let Seth in here. It says, when you're making lots of dough, if it's sketchy, say no. That's for you, Mr. Sharon Moore.
Did you just make that headline up?
I did. When you're making lots of dough, if it's sketchy, say no. That brings us in. Seth Morris, attorney at law of Liberty Law Group. Seth, good morning. This situation yesterday with Michigan, just it went. We let get that Sharon gets fired, and within a couple hours she's arrested.
Right.
So walk us through your timeline on this and
counselor.
Yeah, you've assessed the situation. Walk us through what happened yesterday and what's next for Sharon Moore in Michigan.
Yeah, and what I'll try to do here is kind of bounce back and forth about the three things that really stuck out at me from kind of a legal perspective. I encourage you guys to push back, ask questions. Breakers can text or whatever.
Okay, Seth.
So I guess to start, I'm not going to engage in wild Twitter speculation, right? Because I went down this rabbit hole. I went down this rabbit hole when Nebraska was putting a beat down on Wisconsin.
Okay.
And there's wild allegations. For the sake of my liability and this fine station's liability.
Thank you.
We will not go down that rabbit hole. So we'll go with what's verifiable, right? So the first thing is that he's fired on December 10th. The AD is very clear that this is for cause. So the reason that statement is so important is Sharon Moore, like any other football coach in the United States, has a significant buyout, right? We're talking millions and millions of dollars. If he's terminated for cause, right? And so that would be, depending on how it's phrased in his contract, if the extramarital affair, any sort of inappropriate conduct, impeding NCAA investigations, things of that nature, they can waive that buyout. It looks like that's north of $10 million.
That sounds right.
That's so
substantial
amount of money there. So the reason that that's significant is they're putting it out there that they're not going to be liable for $10 million, and they're going to push, this on Mr. Moore and his team, his legal team, to sue them and try to claw back money. And so whether or not that happens, I mean, obviously that depends on the facts as they come out or more fully developed. The second thing is the AD was very clear that there was basically two investigations, right? So there was kind of the internal, and then they had an external investigation.
Right.
And so the one thing that I'm curious about is whether Cherone participated in that interview and what that interview that investigation looked like. And kind of looking at, I've been involved in a number of cases where people are facing not criminal charges, but they're being investigated by their workplace.
Okay.
And whether or not you participate, sometimes it depends on your employment agreement, right? So 93.7, the ticket could say that SIP has to cooperate fully with any internal investigations about missing donuts.
There hasn't been one, by the way.
About missing donuts, extra expense reports or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even do expense reports, so
True.
Keep me out of this. Keep going, Seth.
All right. So if he's not required, then it's always a question of whether you participate and obviously what's on the line, right? And it's a different conversation with a cashier at Casey's and the head coach at Michigan, right? I mean, it's fairly easy to find a replacement, a similarly situated job at that position versus a several $1 million job at one of the premier universities in America,
right?
And so, the question is whether or not you participate, and then it's just risk a reward after that, right? Because it could be something. If the allegations are as serious as they would appear to be, if he lies in that investigation, now law enforcement, if they're going to move forward with charges, they can subpoena those records, and now it ends up in the hands of law enforcement. So now you could be in a position where you've already demonstrably lied and put yourself behind the 8 ball before you even step foot into a courtroom.
Your vision, if he lied about what?
So say he says there was no inappropriate relationship. Okay. I never did this. I never did that. I had no contact. I don't know who she is, right? So if he demonstrably lies time and time again about that, okay, he goes to court. Now he pleads his innocence. Well, here we have on December 1st, you lied about knowing her. You lied here, 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 here. Why should we believe you now, Sip? Right? If I've put my prosecutor hat on.
Got it.
You lied. You're going to lie now. That's how we know that this person has a character for untruthfulness. And so that's a huge part of kind of my risk analysis here is what did that look like? What did that potentially lead to? The final thing is initially reports that he was just contacted by police and released is what I read. But then this morning I went to bed and I read that this morning that he was actually booked in jail.
Yeah. Detained and booked and still in jail as far as we know.
Okay. And so I should have pulled up that county's website and see if he's still booked. I saw, because you can do that in Nebraska. But last I saw, according to reports, he had not been charged with anything. And so the main thing is being detained. So just any contact with law enforcement, they can pull you in for questioning. You're even booked. That doesn't mean that you're criminally charged. Right. But the first thing that really jumps out at me, so I've been involved in cases that involve, I would say, local celebrities, kind of higher up people that may be tied to different things. And those types of investigations by police are very calculated because there's going to be public pushback, right? If we just, a homeless guy, we detain him for a couple hours and release him, nobody notices, right? His pull... the media attention's not there.
Absolutely.
If you're going after the head football coach of the University of Michigan and there's nothing there, now there's a lot of egg on your face. So you don't want to bring the cavalry in, do this dramatic arrest, do all this stuff, and there's absolutely nothing there. Now you just look like you harassed somebody, but I mean, you could theoretically be sued. So there's a lot of eggs. So what I've seen in those types of cases is that they're very careful about when they contact people, when they book people, and if they charge people, right? Because the thing is once the cat's out of the bag, if anybody that cases here randomly in Lincoln will just become media sensations for whatever reason. Maybe it involves somebody that was a former or current Husker player or coach, or just the story of that case gets a lot of attention, and that courtroom will be filled with cameras.
I think people are just shocked, Seth, that, again, this is a situation where the coach is fired, and then all of a sudden all this unravels in just a matter of hours afterwards. So I would ask this question. So yesterday happened. Now, today, what are you looking for in terms of you're going to seek out the situation? What happens today in the situation, or what would you advise if you were his lawyer?
So if I'm his lawyer, it's shut up.
Say nothing.
Right? Because here's the thing is, at the end of the day, I tell people at this point, right? So someone like Mr. Moore, he's the head coach at the University of Michigan. He's been a high achiever his whole life. He's used to solving problems and getting his way quickly. The hardest thing is when it's taken out of your control and now you're responding, right? So what people like that, what the high achievers want to do is they want to solve this problem now. They want to put it to bed and they want to move forward with their life. He's going to want to coach at some other school tomorrow, right? That's the kind of guy that he is. That's he's there because he's wired that way. So the hardest thing to tell people in this situation is to slow down, because what you're doing here is you're essentially shadow boxing, because we're throwing punches at what you think the evidence is. You don't know it at this point, and cops can lie to you.
Yeah.
They can say, we have you on this video. We have this DNA evidence. We have this.
They can lie to you.
Oh, during interrogations all the time. It's pretty brilliant how some of these lies have just got my guys to, all of a sudden, oh, well, Sip, if you didn't do this, then why do we have you on video? Well, okay. I stole this iPhone.
Okay.
Just lying about that evidence that you have.
That's why you are valuable.
Yeah,
an attorney.
So before my clients say anything,
right,
I want to make sure I have all of the evidence, because I can't tell you how many times my clients are dead set. This happened in this way, in this way, in this way. Because all you can know in a case like this, from what we know, is that there's your perception of events in the relationship, and then there's the other person's perception of the relationship, right? So you only see things through your eyes. You don't know what's going on externally and how this other individual feels. And so you're over here throwing punches at, no, this was fine, this was fine, this was fine, this was well received, this was a gift, this wasn't stalking, or whatever the allegations are. And you only, before we respond, we want to make sure that, hey, you have all the facts, all the evidence, and this is confirming what you know to be true. Because as soon as you step out of line and say something that's demonstrably false, even if it's just, okay, this is the wrong day, or this is the wrong whatever, I talked to her in person versus I talked to her on the phone.
Right.
All of these little things just chip away at your credibility.
Yeah.
Especially if this is, depending on what this case ultimately is, most cases aren't captured on video, right? A lot of cases come down to he said, she said. And that's the scariest thing about a lot of these, is you never know who a jury's going to believe, what is going to corroborate in the middle. Is there digital evidence? Is there video? Is there cell phone evidence? I mean, there's so many ways that these cases can turn. But the fact of the matter is, in most of these kinds of situations, from what it may look like an inappropriate relationship, it's her word versus his.
Is that, and that's, okay, so what we know is that this Pittsfield Township is what we're talking about. They said an investigation began in the 3000 block of Ann Arbor Saline Road. There is a complex in that vicinity. This is the police statement. The incident does not appear to be random in nature, and there appears to be no ongoing threat to the community. That's the police chief.
Okay.
At this time, this investigation is ongoing. Given the nature of the allegations, the need to maintain the integrity of the investigation and its current status, and given the current status at this time, we are prohibited from releasing additional details. No charges that we know of yet. It's odd. I don't know it's hard to know what's going on.
Yeah. So the main thing, I guess, as far as if this is going to be a criminal progression, if he's still booked, so it's about 8 a.m. So he'd been booked for about 12 hours.
About that.
Most likely he's going to have some sort of bond hearing today, or they're just going to cite and release him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so that's generally what you would expect if this is going to go criminal. Theoretically, they could just book him, interview him, kind of confirm some other things for follow-up investigations, cut him loose, and then while they develop more of the case, then they could, issue an arrest warrant.
Here's a question I think people would have back to this. Okay, there was a internal investigation by the University of Michigan that came up with nothing apparently, and then the Board of Regents at Michigan, they hired an outside entity to investigate. Would that be a law enforcement entity to investigate that? What would your guess be?
So
who would conduct that investigation spurred by the Board of Regents?
So what I've used is, the private eye type stuff does exist, right? Okay. There's a company in Omaha that we use. It's retired police detectives. That was their job. Now they've done their time. They're retired and they still want to just participate in that. Mm-hmm. So we've used them. There's outside consultants that will come in and do those kinds of investigations. I highly doubt that it had any official law enforcement ties.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
Yeah, but the thing is on its face, the fact that findings of an investigation changed between, we'll say, October 31st and December 10th, that does not surprise me.
Why?
Because relationships change. Oh. I've seen the roller coaster of relationships, right? There's cases that involve brothers, parents, children, your ex-wife, your current wife's boyfriend, all these different dynamics that can create a roller coaster as you go. So theoretically, they interview the same people in October. Everything is good in the relationship, right? I'm just talking theoretically. And nobody wants to talk. Nobody has anything bad to say. All of a sudden something sours, and all of a sudden it's let's burn some bridges.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's burn some bridges here and let's air our dirty laundry. So the fact that there was two different findings isn't necessarily surprising to me, just knowing that, somebody will make a claim, they'll withdraw it, then they'll reaffirm it, then they'll withdraw. There's so many times where I have witnesses. It's like the ultimate soap opera. Is this person going to show up? What are they going to say? Let's just, Western movie, show up at high noon and see what happens at trial. That's just, the way it goes sometimes.
He is Seth Morris, attorney at Liberty Law Group, helping us out with the Michigan situation with Sharon Moore and the details that will follow from yesterday's news of the arrest and firing.
Yeah, this situation might be complex in nature, and it might not be complex at all. Correct. I don't know. It might just be. I don't want to speculate, but it might not be all that complex. I don't know. That's what we just. And as a journalist, I feel for the reporters dealing with this because they have to be very careful in how they word everything at this point.
Yeah, you have to be extremely careful. And one of the things is it's tough for me because I don't know kind of the local habits of law enforcement up there. Mm-hmm. Depending on the types of investigations, some are going to get investigated every time. Some departments are going to say, hey, if this type of case comes in, we're always going to investigate, say, a crime against a child, right? So we're always going to investigate it. We're going to do these steps, no matter if we think it's credible or not. We may think it's extremely far-fetched, but we're going to investigate it, document it. Other people say, hey, if we think that this is credible and there's something here, then we investigate it. So it's tough because we don't know, from the police department side, what their kind of standard is for detaining people, interviewing people when that's necessary.
You would tell Sharon Moore, do not talk to law enforcement, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
That because it's easier to walk yourself into a jail cell than walk out of one.
Yeah, I told Jake and Bill, I had an incident recently. It was very interesting. It was very illuminating to me. One aspect of it, I had a detective leave a card in my side door at my house inadvertently. It was meant for a neighbor. Okay. Now, I was naturally...
Allegedly.
No, I called the detective. He goes, that's my fault. It was supposed to be 2 doors down. But for 4 days, I couldn't get a hold of him. So I thought, what's going on? Now, the illuminating part, as it applies to you, was I didn't think it was that big of a deal until I told my brother, who's an attorney. And he said, okay, now I'm going to tell you right now, you call him. I'll handle it. Because we didn't know it wasn't anything that I didn't know it at first that it was inadvertent. God only knows what it could have been. And that's what my brother's thinking was. And he said, no, because they can really mess with you.
Yeah. So, for the average listener out here, someone trying to contact you could be something as simple as police canvassing the neighborhood, trying to get Ring doorbell footage. Like that's something that happens all the time.
Yeah. They're trying to track. Yes, that's why I wondered.
They're trying to track. This car left the scene of an accident. Someone was injured, and now we got to try to track this car's movements. There was an assault, and they fled the scene. So it could be something as simple as that. The trick is it's not always clear if you're the target or not.
Right.
Right. They have an incentive to downplay it. I mean, that's how they're trained. Because if you come out, the movie Bad Cop, well, everyone just freezes up and says, I'm not going to talk to you without my lawyer. But if it's, hey, Sip, I got your name here. I know this is nothing, but I just got to talk to you. I want to put this to bed. I know you want this done with, and I just got to ask you a couple questions, and I'm going to get you out.
Scaring me for no reason.
It's almost like I've dedicated a lot of time in my life to watching, these police interviews and kind of know how it works.
Yeah.
And so it's always, the good cop, like, I know this is nothing. You're a good guy. You got no criminal record. You got an above-average radio show.
We're above Jake.
Yes,
we're above average.
Above
average radio show.
Above average.
Yes.
That was humbling.
Seth, we are out of time, but we appreciate you coming in and giving us some scoop on Sherrone Moore. When we learn more, we might have you back on again.
Hey,
give
absolutely.
Us more details.
It was fun, guys.
Yes.
That was interesting, Seth. Thank you.
That is Seth Morris, attorney at law at Liberty Law Group. Thank you, Seth. Appreciate that.
You're welcome, guys.
To Michigan.
Okay.
Because those who did it right are now in the fight.
Okay.
Those who did it right are now in the fight. Here's a piece that no one talks about right now. There's people on that staff that have done everything right at the highest level. And I'm talking whether it be assistant coaches, analysts, support staff, nutritionists, strength staff, you name it. There is people there that have done things the right way. And when an error like this is made, they're all in harm's way.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that people will be removed from their jobs by a lot. Yeah. There's going to be people just going, you know what? Your fault, my fault, his fault, whose fault, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And no one really wants to think about the fact of like, you know what? When you do become the head coach, guess what? You are in charge of all those other people.
A lot of people.
And if you don't win enough games, that happens. You don't have something else. But when something like this happens, the people that you have no idea the pressure that hit people. I mean, it was
a lot of people.
A lot. And I'm talking, the next part of it is this. If you're the assistant ticket manager, you're getting text messages from your friends. What's going on? What are you hearing down there? Do you know this is happening? Everybody is tied in. And it's insane. Think about us, what we know about it. Imagine if you were part of that and you're the one that did everything the right way. And all of a sudden, you're going to be escorted out the door.
No, it's really disappointing.
You're just going like, are you kidding me?
It's really disappointing.
I mean, you just want to go, this happened. Because if there was nothing happened, if this was completely false, I know I've heard hey, we haven't heard both sides of the story yet. I agree. But if this would happen to someone, to Sip, it'd be like going, no, don't worry about it. I'll have my own press conference. I did not do this. I am innocent. I have no idea what this is. And then guess what? It's going to be like, you guys are going to owe me $50 million in slander.
Hear that.
And so that didn't come up. There was no. He
was arrested.
He was. Yeah. There was and hopefully again for himself and his family that he's in a safe spot, because that got scary and real. But all of those who work for him, the number of people that are all losing their jobs, it's going to be a lot. And it's not going to be. It's going to be like, well, that's the deal. I don't know how their contracts are structured. A lot of them are structured with the head coach, meaning if the head coach gets fired with cause, that your contract is also subject to that. And
is that null and void immediately?
We'll give you an example. If someone that I'm not sure how theirs are structured, so I don't know the answer to this. But that would, if all of a sudden, let's just say the coach decides to leave a school and go to another school, what was the contracts like for? So if you're an assistant coach at Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley leaves to go to USC. Are you still under contract? It's like, no, your head coach left on his own.
Yeah.
He departed. This coach made an error of some sort. He's fired with cause. But they will be asked to leave.
Yeah, that
sucks. And all of a sudden, do you imagine their life? They're sitting like that. Life was good. There was discussions that he was in meetings on Wednesday. He was hiring a quarterbacks coach. All these things are happening. It's right before Christmas. You're going to go play Texas in a bowl game.
Yep.
Families are ready to go to a bowl game. Okay, here we go. Now it's like, who's going to the bowl game? It'll just be the coach. His families aren't going. That's what'll happen. It'll be a bare bones operation, and they're going to go down there, and the lives that got affected by personal decisions.
It's depressing.
Are insane.
And I should not have made that joke about Sherrone Moore coming out of the Hampton. That was I shouldn't. It's too. You don't do that. It's a rough situation.
People, like I said, there are people right now going, what do we do for Christmas? Because there's a chance that all of a sudden it's like if however they're hooked up, and let's just say they still do have a contract for a while, try to get a job as good as Michigan. Try to get one as good as being at Michigan. Just try that.
Probably won't.
And so
chances are you won't.
Chances are you're not. And so there's a lot of people that are in harm's way.
God.
And they go, so when
because of an individual, that's what sucks.
And so I just wanted to bring it up on a different perspective of what's going on inside that building, and it's pure nightmare right now. And then guess what else has to happen? We got to get a team ready to play.
Yeah.
There is no opting.
Playing Texas.
No, we're playing Texas in a bowl game.
Yeah.
Playing Texas in a bowl game.
Gosh. So Biff is really important.
Yeah, right now. And if there's one guy that has a great chance to at least rally the troops, to put things together, to have a plan for this. But there was conversation. I have no idea if it's true that the quarterback no longer has any Michigan stuff on his Instagram or any of his social media.
Underwood.
And so where's that at? What's going? So imagine you're trying to get your quarterback ready to play against Texas.
Well, it's trouble.
It's trouble.
No, it's trouble.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, I'm glad you're doing this because it shines light on the people you don't think about, and there's a lot of them.
So Michigan, in 2 or 3 years or whatever time, they will recover.
I think
there'll
so.
be coaches and staff members that won't recover from this.
Now, I will tell you, we differ a little bit on this. There's no guarantee they're recovering.
No, there's not a guarantee.
No guarantee.
They have a chance. And the difference is, what is it? Now you have NIL, and Michigan has money.
It's true.
And they also have all the support. They have a fan base. They put 100-some thousand people in there. They have won before. There's a history. So
all things Nebraska has.
The chance, yeah. So, but it could
right.
be, yeah. It could be a little bit difficult.
Right.
And they've won recently.
They got to get the right guy. Now, who's hiring him? All of that. I mean, God, think about it. Who's hiring him? Who's hiring the guy?
Yeah. I mean, at LSU, they had to go to the interim, which got named. But what did they do right away at the interim? They made him full-time athletic director because they're going, we cannot have someone with an interim on to make this hire.
The university, the Michigan leadership right now, I would think they have to identify 2 or 3 people that we have to push all of this through, and not let this waylay the university. You know, I mean, because it's rough. Today will be rough. The arraignment will be rough. I mean, it's not good. Any of this.
And then you go back to you talk about all the employees that are going to have their life upside down, coaches, staff, all that's going to happen. Then you also have what? You also have a wife and kids.
I know.
You have a wife and kids. I'm not sure
family,
how
extended family.
And
I mean,
can you imagine being the extended right now? The extended family that's like, okay, those are my grandkids.
Horrifying.
And it's horrifying.
It's
and
horrifying.
What his wife is going through is
right.
Like,
horrifying.
It's horrifying.
No, it's horrifying.
So anyway, I thought I'd bring that.
The headline again, Bill, please.
What's
do you have
that?
a headline for that?
Oh yes, I do. That those who did it right are now in the fight.
Yep.
They did everything right. Working there that had nothing to do with any of this,
it's
and now their whole life just got dumped upside down. Imagine all of a sudden they came in and fired him. They had a normal morning going.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden by 5 o'clock, I mean, imagine being the linebacker coach and coming home at about 6:30 like that, and seeing the kids. You know what's going on.
So many staff members.
Yeah.
Guys, women. No, Bill, you're so right. It's
and those that are going to get retained will be almost none. It won't. There's going to be new everything.
Overhaul.
It's going to be a complete overhaul. Strength staff, you name it. It's going to be all new.